All right, let's dive right into this explainer. Today, we're taking a magnifying glass to a really brief but incredibly dense statement from Elon Musk regarding artificial intelligence and what it actually means for the future of human labor. It's a super short quote, but the implications are massive. We're going to break down his exact words, layer by layer, to see what this major tech figure really thinks about the future of your livelihood. Here's our roadmap for the breakdown. We're going to hit 1. The real AI concern. 2. Sci-fi fears versus job reality. 3. The certainty of disruption. 4. Jobs will be different. And finally, 5. The radical rate of change. Let's get into it. So here is the raw quote we're analyzing today. I'm just going to read it straight through so you can let the raw ideas really sink in before we tear it apart. Musk says, "What do you think about AI replacing jobs, though? Because that's a big concern. Even if AI doesn't sort of go rogue and start doing something directly horrible, I think a lot of people's concerns is just, hey, what about everyone's jobs? I will certainly be very disruptive because jobs will be different. So no, I think the rate the change caused by AI is going to be pretty radical." Now, I know it sounds totally off the cuff, right? But as you'll see, the structure of his argument here is actually laser precise. Section 1, the real AI concern. What jumps out literally immediately tackles the sheer scale of workforce anxiety. He doesn't just brush it off or sweep it under the rug. He points out that this question, what about everyone's jobs? It isn't just some fringe panic from a few pessimists. It's a massive, foundational, totally valid public concern. He's totally validating that gut reaction we all have to this tech. So, I really want you to ask yourself right now, when you think about AI, where does your mind actually go first? Are we focusing our anxieties in the right place? Because honestly, it's so easy to get swept away by sensationalized headlines, but Musk's quote is telling us we need to ground our thinking. Which brings us to section 2, sci-fi fears versus job reality. This sets up an absolutely fascinating contrast. It perfectly illustrates this divide in how we view the future. On the one side, you've got your classic Hollywood scenario, right? The existential sci-fi threat of a rogue intelligence waking up and doing something quote-unquote directly horrible. But then, on the other side, we have this grounded, everyday economic fear of just losing your livelihood, asking, hey, what about everyone's jobs? He puts these two ideas right next to each other to make a really specific point about what we should actually be bracing for. And the crucial point is locked right in this phrase, even if AI doesn't sort of go rogue. Basically, Musk is saying, look, we don't even need a worst-case dystopian Terminator scenario for AI to completely upend society. We don't need evil robots. Even if the tech is perfectly safe, even if it does exactly what we tell it to do, the economic impact alone, that's enough to permanently alter our world forever. Moving right into section 3, the certainty of disruption. Now, I want you to look really closely at his phrasing here. Catching his words, he says it will certainly be very disruptive. I want to put a massive spotlight on that word, certainly. Because in his view, this severe disruption, it isn't just a distant possibility. It isn't a maybe if things go wrong. No, it's an absolute baked-in guarantee. Let's actually ground that word for a second. Disruption is defined as a disturbance or problem which interrupts an event, activity, or process, a radical change in an industry. I love pulling up definitions in these explainers because it really helps visualize exactly what we're talking about. AI entering the workforce isn't going to be some smooth, seamless transition where we all just get a little faster at our jobs. No way. It is going to be a profound interruption of the normal working world. It's going to totally break the current mold way before a new one can even be set. Section 4, jobs will be different. So what actually happens to the daily grind? We find the specific mechanism in his own words. Notice the precise word choice here, because jobs will be different. He doesn't explicitly say all jobs are just going to be eradicated and we'll sit around doing nothing. He specifically notes they will be different. And that is a subtle but absolutely crucial distinction when we're trying to figure out the future of work. Just look at this comparison. There's this paralyzing popular fear of total human obsolescence, right? This idea of zero work left for humans. But Musk's land wave of transformation suggests something else entirely. The true challenge isn't necessarily a sci-fi world with zero jobs. The real challenge is the painful, chaotic process of adapting to entirely new types of work, totally new tools, and completely new expectations of what a human worker is actually supposed to do. And finally, section 5, the radical rate of change. This brings us to the climax of his statement, and honestly, it's the most jarring warning in the whole quote. It deals with the velocity of this shift. He says the change caused by AI is going to be pretty radical. It's not just that things are changing, it's the sheer
blinding speed of the transition. That velocity is what has the real potential to catch our society, our schools, and everyday workers completely off guard. Again, let's look at the actual definition of the words he's choosing. Radical, relating to or affecting the fundamental nature of something, far-reaching or thorough. This proves we are not talking about a slow, multi-generational shift here. This isn't the move from farming to the Industrial Revolution where we had decades to figure it out. A radical rate of change means a sudden, foundational restructuring of the economy happening literally right in front of our eyes. All right, let's pull everything we've unpacked together. We just took this 80-word off-the-cuff quote and revealed the entire architecture of his argument. To sum it up, 1. Public fear rightfully centers on job loss. 2. We absolutely don't need a sci-fi rogue AI to experience massive societal upheaval. 3. Workplace disruption is an absolute certainty. 4. The nature of human labor is going to transform into something completely different. And 5. The speed at which this all happens is going to be incredibly fast or radical. Which leaves us with this final, massive question for today's explainer. You know the disruption is certain, right? And you know the speed is going to be radical. So, are you prepared for a radical rate of change in your own life? How are you going to navigate a highly disruptive transformation of your own career? I really hope breaking down this quote gave you a much clearer framework for understanding what's coming at us. Keep learning, keep adapting, and I'll catch you in the next experiment.